Hello my lovely scholars, welcome back to the channel. What we're going to be doing today is looking at simplifying algebraic expressions. And by that we mean we are going to be grouping the like terms and getting the expression in the simplest form that it can be in. By like terms we mean those terms that have the same, whether whole numbers, we're going to group the whole numbers together, or we're going to also group those terms that have the same variable, right? So all the x's together, all the y's together, all the x squares together. Now bear in mind, you cannot add or subtract unlike terms. So if you have an x, a 4x, you cannot add that to, say, a 4x squared. X and x squared are different degrees. So x is to the power of 1, 4x squared is to the power of 2 in terms of the x's. So you cannot combine those, you can't add them or subtract them. You could multiply them, divide them, but you can't add or subtract terms that are not alike. Right? So even though, yes, you see the x, but one is x squared, they are different. Likewise, you could not add an xy to an xp, for example. Right? Those are unlike, and there's nothing you can do really to simplify those, so you just have to write them back as is. Now, these are expressions, they are not equations, so it's not that we're solving anything. We're not finding the value of x or y or whichever of the variables. What we're really doing is just contracting the expressions, making them simpler, putting the terms that are alike, combining those terms, and making the expressions simpler, prettier to look at. So let's go. 2 points we have here. The first point says group the like terms. So when we're simplifying algebraic expressions, we group the like terms. Group the constant terms together, right? The whole numbers. And signs go with their coefficients and variables. What we mean by that is when we are rearranging the terms to put the like terms together, so it's like you're taking this up and you're moving it to be with the ones that are like it. Remember, you are to move the sign that's in front of the term. That's what this is saying. The signs go with their coefficients and their variables. So if you have a negative x and you're moving it to go with the other x's, the negative goes with the x. Or the positive goes with whichever variable or constant that we're grouping. That's very important. So let's do some practice. Practice is how we really get to test out what we're saying, right? We have 3x plus 2y minus 8x plus 6y. So we have two variables in this expression. We have x's, we have y's. There are no constant terms, so there's no number standing by itself without a variable. We have x's and we have y's. So we're going to group the x's and we're going to group the y's. We're going to reorganize the expression. So we're going to put the 3x, remember now this negative 8x, the negative goes with the 8x. So we're going to put it closer to the 3x. We have a plus 2y and a plus 6y. So we have grouped the x's, we have grouped the y's. Now we're going to combine those terms. So 3x take away 8x, that gives a negative 5x, and a positive 2y plus 6y gives a positive 8y. Alright, so if you're not familiar with adding integers, positive and negative numbers, go to the video that was done on adding and subtracting integers to bring yourself up to speed so that you don't look at what we're doing and just dazed and wondering what on earth is that. So if you know that you are not really versed in adding and subtracting negative and positive numbers, go and check that video. When you are versed in that, you come on back and let's proceed with what we're doing. The rest of you, let's go. So we're combining here. We have two different terms here. We have P's and we have Q's. Again, no constant term, no whole number. So we're going to combine the P's, combine the Q's. So we have a negative 5P, and we're going to put the plus 9P with that. We have a plus 3Q, and we're going to put the negative 8Q with that. So we have grouped our P's, we have grouped our Q's. So negative 5P plus 9P, that's going to give us a positive 4P. Positive 3Q minus 8Q will give a negative 5Q. So now it is in the simplest form, because remember, we cannot combine unlike terms. We can't take a 5Q from a 4P. So this is as simple as it gets. We can't add an 8y to a negative 5x. One is x, one is y. Right? So we have to leave them as they are. Here we have negative 4xy, we have a 3x, and we have a negative 4y. But guess what? There's nothing we can do with those because they are all unlike. They are not like terms. xy is a different term from just x, which is a different term from y. So what we do there is to just rewrite the expression, and by rewriting it, we are saying this is as simple as it gets. There's nothing I can do with it. Sometimes you'll be getting stuff like these. You're just being tested to see if you really know what you're about. Because some students feel like once they see something, they have to do something with it. So they might be given information that they don't need, and they just feel they need to use everything that's given. No. And sometimes what you're given, there's nothing more you can do with it. Just give it back. Just write it back, and by that, or you can make a note to say simplest form, right? So that your teacher doesn't just feel like you wrote it but you don't know what to do with it. So you're going to say this is in the simplest form. Alright, now we have y's and we have xy's. We know we're not going to be able to combine the xy's with the y's, but we can combine these two y's. So we have a negative 6y plus negative 16y plus 10y, that's going to give us a negative 6y. And then we just write back the negative 3xy because we can't combine y's and xy's. Alright, here we have two variables, x's and y's. So let's rewrite them and group them. We have a 10x, we have a positive 11x, we have a negative 6y, and we have a positive 12y. So 10x plus 11x, that will give us 21x. Negative 6y plus 12y will give us a positive 6y. And that's as simple as we can express it. 21x plus 6y. We can't group them any further. Alright, so let's look at these ones. We have PQs as one variable and we have R. Okay, so we can group the PQs together. Rewriting them, we have 2PQ minus 6PQ. We have a plus R minus 8R. So the 2pq minus 6pq will give a negative 4pq. And the r minus 8r will give a negative 7r. Remember, when you see the variable by itself, if you don't see a coefficient in front of it, remember there's a 1. It has a coefficient of 1. And you must use that 1 in your calculation. So this is 1r. It's not written, it is understood. This is 1r minus 8r, which gives negative 7r. Remember that. Now we have x's and we have 1y, so we know we're not going to be able to do anything with that y. We're just going to write it back. However, we can combine the x's. So we have 19x plus 6x, which gives 25x, minus 4x, so that's 21x. And we just have to add back our 10y. We can't combine the x's and the y's. We just have to rewrite it. Just put it back. Alright, what do we have here now? The common terms, we have x squares and we have x's. So let's put them closer to each other. The common ones, we have a positive 9x squared. We're putting that with the positive 3x squared. We have a negative 2x, and we're combining that with the negative 16x. So we have grouped our x squares, and we have grouped our x's. 3x squared plus 9x squared, that gives 12x squared. Negative 2x minus 16x gives negative 18x. Alright, let's see what term. We have a y squared, we have a y, we have a y cubed, and we have a y. The square and the cube, we cannot combine those. They are different terms. Y squared is a different term than y cubed, which is a different term than y. We have two y's, so we can combine those. And usually, when we're listing polynomials, right, algebraic terms that have different degree, different powers, we put them in descending order. So we start with the highest degree, which is the 9y cubed plus the 15y squared. And now we're going to combine the y's. 3y plus 1y, remember this is a 1y. The 1 isn't written, but we know it's there, right? It's understood. 3y plus 1y, that gives 4y. And that's as simple as we can make it in terms of combining the terms. That's as simple as it gets. Alright, for number 10, we have constant terms, which we can combine. We have x terms, which we can combine. So let's put them closer. We have a negative 6x and a negative 10x. We have a positive 3 and we have a positive 9. So the negative 6x minus 10x gives negative 16x, and 3 plus 9 gives positive 12. Okay. There are other ways we could simplify it. We could factorize it, right? But we'll get to that in other videos. So right now we're just seeing how we can combine the terms. And we cannot add 12, which is a constant term, with an x term. This is a variable. We don't add constants and variables. Alright, so let's go on to the others. We have P's and Q's. You know when they say you're to mind your P's and Q's. So let us mind our P's and our Q's. We have a 6P and a 9P. We have negative 3Q and negative 7Q. Alright? So 6P plus 9P, that's going to give us 15P. Negative 3Q minus 7Q will give us negative 10Q. So we have finished with our P's and Q's, right? That's as simple as we can combine them. 15p minus 10q. Alright, what do we have for number 12? We have xy's, we have x, we have y's. Again, so this is a reminder that we cannot combine x's with xy's or with y's. They are all different terms. We cannot add them or subtract them. So we're going to write them back. And we might just want to make a note to say it's in its simplest form. Alright, for number 13, we can combine the x's, we can combine the y's. So let's put them closer together so we see what we're doing. We have a 6x and we have a negative x. So let's put those together. We have a positive 3y and we have a positive 1y. So 6x minus x, that's going to give us 5x. 3y plus 1y will give us a positive 4y. For number 14, we can group our x's, we can group our y's again. So we have a negative x and a negative 11x. We have a positive 9y and a positive 1y. So negative 1x minus 11x gives negative 12x. And 9 plus 1 gives 10, so that's 10y. Finally, number 15, we have p's and q's again, and they're already beside each other. The p's are with each other, the q's are with each other. So our lives are simpler. We don't have that additional step of grouping them. So all we have to do now is to combine them, to add them, to work the operation there. So we have a negative 10p plus 1p. Negative 10 plus 1 gives negative 9p. We have a negative 16q minus 10q. So negative 16 minus 10 is negative 26. So that would be negative 26q. Alright, so that's our final answer, negative 9p minus 26q. Just to recap, when we're simplifying algebraic expressions, and remember these are not equations, the terms aren't equal to anything, we're not solving any equations, these are expressions. They are just a combination of terms with addition or subtraction between them. And we're asked to simplify them, meaning we're asked to group the terms that are alike and see how we can make the expression look simpler, prettier, nicer. So we always must make sure that when we're moving a term to put it with another term, the sign that's in front of it goes along with it. So if it's a positive number, we take that plus sign with it. If it's a negative number, we take that minus sign with it. You know, we'll rearrange it. If you don't do that, you're going to end up in trouble. Big, 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 big trouble. So if we're moving the 8x, we'll remember it's a negative 8x. We're moving it and we're putting it with the 3x, it's a negative 8x, right? We're moving the 9p, it's a positive 9p, so we carry the sign with it. They like to take their signs with them. Alright guys, so if you have benefited from this video, which I trust that you have, I would love for you to write a comment to say thank you, miss. I'd love if you do that. I'd also love if you share the video so that others can benefit from it. And if you have not subscribed, please do so, and I'll see you in the next video.